Hello, beautiful people. Hi, Nan. It's so good to see you and welcome, everybody. Today, I thought that we would talk about something really important: how to clean our vegetables and our fruit, right? And so, before we get started, I just going to give it like a minute or so. But while we're waiting a minute or so, I'll just let you know that. I will give you a little tiny update on my Dr. Brooke Goldner protocol. I'm still on it. Yeah. And tomorrow we'll kick off not day, but week 6 for me. And I need to do a full 6 weeks. And then I'll wait a couple days. I think I need to. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my blood test. And so that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing the protocol. That just was kind of like the goal for me. So we'll talk more about that. But as we get started, I just want to look in the chat. Hi. Oh, I see so many beautiful faces. Jackie, hello. Mona, hello. Tracy Lynn, hi. Plant Powered Peddler Janet, hello. Good to see everyone. I am so happy that you're all here. And I was just starting to talk about, that it's going to be week 6 for me tomorrow. And so, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I am trying to heal my autoimmune and Hashimoto's through Dr. Goldner's Goodbye Lupus, her rapid recovery protocol. And just a real quick, because I've already talked a lot about this and a lot of you are very familiar. I just want to say hi to John Jew, and I want to say hi to Gina. Gina's in the house. She's our helper there in the chat. Thank you so much, Gina. And Lisa, good to see you. This is great. We got a full crowd, huh, honey? So just to give a little recap for those who might be watching at a different time, or you're watching now and you're not familiar with some of the things minimally that I'm doing on her protocol. And I will look down at my notes just to keep myself focused. So yeah, I drink a lot of water. She has you drink anywhere from 96 to 128 ounces of water. That's a lot of water. And so that helps with detoxing. And so, she says healing takes more water. So I do a lot of water. I'm doing 64 ounces of a green smoothie. And in that smoothie, there's a pound of greens, which could be mostly cruciferous, dark leafy greens. Yes, I said it, a pound. And I weigh it on the scale. And then I also have high raw cruciferous vegetables, plus another half a pound of whatever other vegetables that aren't the cruciferous. I also do omega-3s. They're very high doses of omega-3 fatty acids, and that I get from the flaxseed and the chia seed. And they are essential. Essential means that our body doesn't make them, and so we need them. And I'm doing a half a cup in my smoothie, and then I drink that throughout the day. And then sometimes I even up it in other things like chia pudding or desserts or different things, another maybe quarter cup. So there's a lot of that going on, and that creates an anti-inflammatory immune cells, which is super important for healing, which is what I'm trying to do. She also likes people on her protocol to do 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, I haven't been having salt in so long. I preach don't have salt. I learned not to have salt from True North. And, but I am doing half a teaspoon in the smoothie because she said with the amount of water that we drink, you can actually get in trouble, like dilute and lose your minerals. So I am doing that a little bit. Half a teaspoon of dulse. She recommends 300 milligrams of iodine. If you have what I have, or 150, not milligrams, I guess it's micrograms. Is it micrograms? No, it's milligrams. I correct myself. 150 without the thyroid disease. And so she measures it using iodized salt. I break it up separately because that's what I have. And then unlimited avocado. So the maximum amount of fruit she likes is between 24 ounces to 3 cups. And I've been hanging in there doing that. So I'll just tell you, my energy is up. I have not been hungry. which is so bizarre and great. I'm very satisfied. And I actually don't feel like I'm missing anything, which is wonderful. And so it got me thinking, I'm eating all these fruits and all these vegetables and all this raw food. What's the best way to clean it all? And so that is what we're going to be talking about today. So let's see. I have been making a lot of recipes from her cookbook, the Goodbye Lupus, Hello Delicious. I also make a lot of my own, but I really like what she's got in here because they're simple and I know that they're on course for what she approves for this particular program. And so I would like to ask you guys in the chat, right? How do you wash your fresh produce? What do you do? Do you do anything special with it? Do you even wash it? So I'm going to check the chat, and I'm hoping to hear what everyone says. I just want to make sure that I get everybody. Made Golders. Oh, good. Oh, yes, good. Plant Powered Peddler said, "Oh, my hair is looking so good." Thank you. You know, I am noticing that my hair looks and feels a little bit different, kind of like my old self. So that's nice that you can see that. Hello, Marilyn Dubin. Nice to have you. And so, oh, I'm terrible about soaking my produce in anything except water, says Janet. Gina says, I buy organic and I just use water. Lisa says, I just wash it with water. A lot of people are just washing it with water. Hey, we're going to go through some different ways and we're going to talk about if you have any different thoughts at the end, and you may not. So before we go any further, I want to start putting stuff in here because I want to let things soak. And so let me just check my notes. So the different ways that we're going to do it is running water, which I can't really do this way because I don't have a faucet, right? But you know what running water is. And so I think what I might do is some of the tools that I want to use are salad spinners, strainers, which I have here, colanders and strainers, a clean kitchen towel, and veggie, potato, or mushroom brush. I actually recently got rid of mine because I wasn't using it, but some people, you know, like those. And if you like those, you should use them. And so, so the running water, I'm going to do it inside this. Am I going to do it? No, I know where I'm going to do. I am going to do it in the salad spinner. Yeah, in the salad spinner. And what the best way to do some of the things like berries is really running water. You could do it with other stuff, but they're so fragile. Like, for example, we're going to grab some of these raspberries. I'm just going to take some raspberries. I literally just bought these today. And so I don't like to wash them if I'm not going to use them right away because their little bit of moisture can offer mold, possibility. So pretend this is running water, right? And so you can just go ahead and put it through a colander or a strainer, and just as long as you can. Now, and then what you're going to want to do, I like to do, that people do, is take a fresh, clean towel, and then you can just lay them out and either gently pat them dry and go ahead and eat them, or you can let them sit for a little bit. So I'm going to move this aside just to show you. And I will show you, I have different colanders, and that can be done for all kinds of things, not just berries, but I'm using that for the gentle berries. I've got this little one, I've got big ones, and then I've got an even larger colander. And so those are different ways that I would rinse them out if I were doing it over the sink. Let's see, anybody else say anything else? Hi, Julie. Oh my goodness, Julie S. That's so nice to have you here. Hi, Marilyn. Let's see. She says, I've just started to soak them in water and a little vinegar. Ooh, very good. Very good. Do you wash, John Juice says, do you wash frozen berries organic? I don't. I don't wash them because I usually want them to be frozen. And if I am buying fresh and I'm going to freeze them, then I wash them before I freeze them. That is a really great question, and I didn't come across anything. Todd, can you do any kind of quick anything just to see if there's any information on washing frozen berries? Because that's a really good question. Thank you for that one. And Julie S says, I use water and a little vinegar too. Okay, so anyways, the next thing is, have you heard of these fruit and veggie washes? I was really big into these about, I don't know, gosh, when my kids were teenagers, a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, 15. And I loved it. I thought it was great. This particular one was an improvement for what I was using. This is the Truly Free, and it has citric acid in it. I went online because the bottle doesn't say the ingredients, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is in these, right? And this is supposed to be like a super clean brand. I don't even know what's in like a more commercial one, but you have to think whatever's in here has been sitting in here for a long time. This particular one, you fill the bottle with warm water, the bottle is empty, and then there's like a refillable pouch of whatever the concentrate is. And so it's as fresh as when you personally make it. And they claim that it removes minerals, metal deposits, I should say, bacteria, molds, and mildew, and that it has the citric acid and deionized water, H2O. So it has grapefruit oil, which they serpens. I hope that's right. Is that right? Serpens, which removes pesticide residues, dirts, waxes, and bacteria, impurities from fruits and vegetables. That's what this company claims. They're not all the same. If you use one and you haven't checked or you haven't considered what is in it, maybe check into that and decide if that's still something you want to use. Now, with these washes, I haven't been using this. In a long time, but since I have it in the house, I wanted to show you. They claim that you just take a piece of, well, they say if you get some kind of like, what are they calling it? They're calling it a hard produce, hard. So something like this bell pepper or an apple I've got over here, or orange. I've got this bowl here. I should just pick up the bowl and show you. Anything like this, these are considered hard fruits and vegetables. And so I'm going to go ahead and do what it says. I can do a couple of them. So what I'm just going to do is spray it. You're supposed to spray it up. Nope. The first thing you're supposed to do is remove any stickers. This actually, I purposely left the sticker on because I wanted to remember, but you spray it on here. Spray, spray, spray. And I'll spray this too. Spray, spray, spray. And then it says that you're supposed to rub it. So I don't know, do you rub it with your hands? Because I would imagine you're doing this over the sink and you rub it for 20 or 30 seconds to really get everything in there. I'll do it for this one. And then you're supposed to rinse it off. And let me see if that's all it says. Yes, it says rinse and then dry. Do you have anything? I'm just going to rinse them over here really quick.
I have a response to the frozen food question from John.
Perfect. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and dry this while you answer that question. Thank you so much for checking into it.
Of course. According to the American Frozen Food Institute, whomever that may be, frozen fruit is safe and ready to eat straight from the package because bacteria does not grow typically in lower temperatures required to freeze them. What they don't say, however, is are they covered in pesticides?
Right. That's a good point. And I guess that brings you back to organic, non-organic, and finding out where the food came from. And so, well, that's good though. We have a little bit of an answer. I don't know. How does that? Any other thoughts from that? Anyone? I'd love to open the floor to anyone. And I'm just going to check the chat, see if we've had any other things going on here? No, no, no. Okay, so they also say with this spray that you can use it on things that are not hard produce, like soft greens. But they don't want you to spray it directly on the greens. And when they say soft greens, the examples were lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, strawberries. Strawberries, which surprised me because that's a berry and it's soft, but that's what they say. And they say, go ahead and put it in a bowl. I have so many bowls here, but to put it in a bowl and add some water. I'm going to move this and we're going to do this. Where's my water? Okay, add some water to it. And then we're going to go ahead. I don't know if you're just supposed to spray some in here because it didn't give measurements for this. So I'm just going to spray some in here. You could even take the cap off, and depending on how much water and what you're going to do. And then what I'm going to do is, I should probably move my notes, take a little bit of this kale, and they're saying that you would just gently soak it in here for like 30 seconds, it says, and swish around the water, really mix it up. And then you can spray it again if you want, rinse, and then dry. It's supposed to draw out any bugs. And so obviously you don't want to do it in a little bowl like this. I just want to be able to show you. You could do this over the sink. I think I would actually rinse it first. And then if I were going to do it with this particular spray, I might put the water in the sink, a clean sink, plug it, or have a big bowl in the sink and then fill that and do kind of what we did. And so that's kind of what they're, not kind of, that is what they're saying to do. Can I pass this to you, please? And so that takes care of the spray. So we've got water and we've got the commercial spray or the, this natural non-toxic spray. So, so that's that. Let's see what else we have here. The next one on my list, and I can't see the chat because I blocked it with the water. Let me move that. Is, and I don't think anyone said this, is salt water. Now, I was surprised because doesn't salt water, can't it give a salty taste or add to it? But here I'm trying so hard not to ingest salt, but this was one of the ways we found, and it was really known to be like the most cost effective because you can get some inexpensive salt. You can get salt for really inexpensive. And so the measurements that I'm not going to have, I don't have the size to put it in, but they're saying 5.5 cups of water to 1 cup of salt. I'm sorry, to half a cup of salt. 5.5 cups of water to half a cup of salt. And then you would, swish it together, and that would make the salt water. And you would put in the food, and they say soak it for 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know. I don't have 20 to 30 minutes, but what we're going to do is we have a small amount of water in here. I'm going to go ahead and dump some salt. It's not measured because it's just, to show you for right now. But if you did want to try this, that would be the correct measurements. And I'm going to go ahead and trying to mix it up. And this is probably the wrong salt. You want to get some regular like salt. This is kind of these big, thick granulates because this is Celtic salt. But, if you just want to get some salt and you want to mix it the best you can to let it, dissolve in your 5.5 cups of water. And then what you want to do is you want to take your food. For this particular one, I'm going to use green grapes. And I'm just going to take some green grapes and I'm just going to put them right in there. Just going to put them right in there. And I have never done the salt one before that I remember. And so I'm kind of, I don't know if you can see, I'm kind of swishing it around. and just going to kind of let it do its thing. And so let me wipe my hands. And so what I'm going to do is just move it, trade it with a different one because I want to let it sit because we're going to check on it later. And so let's see. So that's the salt. And let's see. So it says that it's known to draw out bugs also. There's a lot of talk about drawing out bugs, which is a good thing, right? Because if it's fresh produce, it's going to be in a field or somewhere growing on a tree or in soil. And if it's good, beautiful soil, then it's going to have bugs. So that's good in a way. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to do baking soda and water. Has anyone heard of that one? The baking soda and water is for smooth skin fruit like apples, cherries. I'm talking fresh cherries. I have frozen ones. I don't have any fresh right now. It's not in the season for me to find them. But blueberries, and you could do grapes here. And so what it says to do is, it says if you could do greens. It says if you're going to do greens, then you would add the greens first. And we could do that over here. Let's do that. We'll do both. So I'm going to dump the water out. We're going to use the spinner. And we're going to add our greens. And we're also going to add some fruit in here. So let's do this first. So add some greens. And, it comes in a bunch. I took the little wrapper thing off the twist tie. And what I actually like to do is rinse it first and then strip it. But for this, I didn't do that. It's just how it comes. So, and what do I mean by strip it? Just take the stem off. So, well, maybe I will strip a few. It makes it easier. I'm not going to be eating this stem anyways. So let me just do that on a few of these. Okay, so we've got it in here. Here it is. Nothing's in the bowl. And now it says, you could even do this with this green. I have this green too. Does anyone know what this is? Do we know? Come on. It's a really good one. I'm not going to tell you. You tell me. Okay, so then it says add your water. And I'm going to have to get more because I think I used it all. So let me get some water. Anybody saying anything what it is?
Julia S. is guessing bok choy.
Woo! Yes, it is. It's actually baby bok choy. Winner, winner. Good for you. You win the bok choy. Here you go, honey. I wish I could hand it to you. That was great. Thanks for playing. Anybody else have a different answer or a different thought? Maybe they thought it was something different. Let me know. So now I'm putting in, and of course, I am not doing the measurements correctly because of the space that I have. But what it says to do is add 16 ounces of water and then sprinkle the baking soda and soak for 10 minutes, drain and rinse. And so I have that in here. I'm also going to do it. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm doing that. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just going to kind of let it sit there. And then I'm also going to be doing it with something in this bowl. And I'm doing it a little different, right? So pretend this is the 16 ounces. And then I'm just going to add some baking soda. And again, maybe using a spoon would be better than what I'm doing with my hand, but you could use your hand. Half the time I do because it's in the sink, and I just want to kind of see if it'll blend. And then what I'm going to add this time are cherry tomatoes. So I want you to be able to see this. Here they go. Cherry tomatoes right in there. And this is going to sit for 10 minutes. So far, this, let's see. So far, water, you rinse it as long as you want. This is basically 20 to 30 seconds of massage and rinse. And then we've got the salt, which says 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And these two bowls are going for 10 minutes. So you can see the variation here. I'm going to set this aside as we move on to the next one. And of course, after the 10 minutes, after the 20 minutes, after this, they want you to drain it, rinse it, drain the water, rinse the produce, and then dry it. I like to dry everything on clean towels. You can pat it, whatever works for you. So the next one, and there's a few left, vinegar. I've got distilled white vinegar here. Vinegar is it says 1 part white distilled vinegar to 3 parts water. What does that mean? So if you have 3 cups of water, you're going to want to use 1 cup of the vinegar. So it can be any measurement you want, which is why it says to do it in parts. And so I've got water here. I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this in here. And kale would be really great to use on this, but we've used the kale a lot already. And so what else could I do? I'm going to put in some apples. Maybe I'll do a little more. I don't know what I'll do. I'll do some blueberries. Blueberries, even though they're a berry, well, let's put some berries in here. See what that does. Even though they're a berry, they're hardier, so I think for this example, we could do that. And then maybe just for color, right? I'll put a lemon in there. Okay, so now we've got our, this one goes over here. I just don't want to get these confused. And then this guy is the distilled white vinegar. Does anyone, I did see Marilyn said that she started soaking in water and a little vinegar. Now, the thing that I heard about vinegar versus salt is that vinegar could be more expensive than maybe salt. And so, that's why earlier I'd said, salt was cost effective. So it also depends on what you're using. These, I don't even know how much this is, but this is going to be way more than any of the other products that we're talking about, I believe. And so the other things that I have written down about the vinegar, that it could have an aftertaste. Now, I have had my food rinsed in water and soaked in water and vinegar before. And after rinsing it and drying it, I never noticed an aftertaste. Has anybody ever tried it? And if so, have you noticed an aftertaste with any of these types of things? It says that it's supposed to remove the dirt, the bacterias, and residue. And so some of those things might be a little bit, a little bit better at taking off those things than plain water, but who knows? Okay, so, and then I'm not going to demonstrate one, but if you feel like your produce is so dirty because it was growing in the best organic soil, you can combine, and you can do the white vinegar and the baking soda. And it says a 1/2 cup of the distilled white vinegar, 1/2 cup. And this comes in a glass bottle, right? But if you're going to use this for cleaning, you can buy them in a plastic gallon, which we do for cleaning. But when I'm going to ingest it or cook with it, I like it out of the glass bottle, but it's a lot less expensive in the plastic. But then again, plastic, I don't know. Okay, let me just finish this one thought here. Okay, so it was a 1/2 cup of vinegar to a tablespoon of baking soda. Stir it really well together. Soak it for 10 minutes. Rinse, dry on towel. So it doesn't say anything about water. I think I would add water to it too, because that just seems logical. Yes.
John Jew has a question. Does it make any difference to buy organic avocados versus not? Same with bananas, since their skins are so thick.
Yeah, we are going to get to that. That is a great question, and we are going to talk about that. Of course, it's a preferential thing, depending on what is important to you. Also, cost can play into that. And I do want to talk about something in a few minutes, which is the Clean 15. and the Dirty Dozen list. And so is it okay if we wait a few minutes to talk more about that when we get there? I just want to finish this last little part here. But that's a great question. And that is one of the reasons that people can and do like to get non-organic, is if they're not really going to eat the skin and so forth. Okay, so I don't have this next thing to show you, but I read about it and I had to share about it. There is something called, and tell me if any of you have heard of this, the ultrasonic cleaner. The ultrasonic cleaner for fruits and vegetables. Yes, it's a machine type thing that you can order. And I'm going to read you a little blurb about what it says it does, and I can explain how it's used. So it says that it uses high frequency sound waves to create microscopic bubbles in the water. Okay, and the bubbles are known as cavitation bubbles, implode upon contact with surfaces. So this produces a scrubbing effect that physically dislodges contaminants without the use of harsh chemicals. What? Oh my gosh. So what they do is they take some water, and the machine that I saw is a similar shape to this bottle, and it's got like an LED, buttons and stuff on the top. I don't own one, so I can't share it with you, but if you're interested, I can, after the fact, if you guys say you're interested, we can link a link for you to look at what it is. But the bottom part of this, this ultrasonic cleaner is like what creates the bubbles. And so you fill a container with water, and the example that I saw was more of a square, like a Pyrex square kind of container, but it doesn't matter as long as the water doesn't go higher than their certain level. So you can't get a big, bowl or fill a sink or anything. It's got to be a certain amount. And then they put the water in, and then they put this inside. Let's see. I better take this off. Let me see if I can just show you. They put this in here, right? Because it's empty, and put it on the ground. I don't want to squish our berries. And this is supposed to be just water. Oh yeah, let me have that one, because that was just plain water, right? I don't want to mess this up. Okay, so here's a better example. Okay, and then they pour whatever it is, like the berries, for example, or these cherry tomatoes or something, grapes, and then they push the button, and then it goes. Now, I was like, well, how do you really know? Well, according to them, you trust the company. So for whatever that's worth, I just thought, oh my gosh, I have to tell people, because there are going to probably be a lot of different gadgets and different things that people will use and try. And hey, if it's like something that you use and you believe in it and it works for you, awesome. I've never tried it, but when I learned about it, I wanted to share it with you. So any questions so far? Anything else? Oh, okay. So I see a few people here. Marilyn says no aftertaste. And Julie S says, yes, I've noticed that when I use vinegar on greens, I taste it a bit. Interesting. Okay. Huh. We have a tie on a yes or a no. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else want to chime in on that? So while we wait to see if anyone else wants to chime in on that, I am going to go back to my next thing, the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And this will bring us back around to what John was asking about. And so I'll just read, in case you don't know what that is, I'll just read a little bit about it. So the Dirty Dozen is a list of fruits and vegetables with the highest levels of pesticide residue. And that list was created by the EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group, EWG. They have an online you can check out. And the reason that they developed it was to educate the public on food safety and issues like agricultural practices and the impact that chemicals are having on human health. So good for them. I think that's really important. And it's a list that they change annually. It's supposed to help people make more informed decisions about what produce they buy, depending on their situation and also what's important to them. So it's released, like I said, each year. The Dirty Dozen includes a rotating list of domestic and imported produce, which I didn't know, and I thought that was interesting. And so the EWG, the Environmental Working Group, they examine testing data from the USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture, and the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, on non-organic fruits and vegetables. So if you thought it was for organic or if they did both, all I found was that it's for non-organic. And the data shows which fruits and vegetables have the highest traces of pesticides. So before I share with you the list, what can anyone guess what's on the list for this year? And you can also guess what's on the list for the Clean 15. And the Clean 15 are the lowest amounts of pesticide residue according to the EWG's recent analysis. And so this will be fun because Todd and I were playing a little bit, and we were guessing things. Well, I wasn't because I had already looked, but he was guessing things, and I'm like, no, yes, no. And so because they change it, it's not always the same. So you can't think that you read a list and then all of a sudden the list is, going to stay the same, because it might not, based on all their testing. So let's see.
We have 2 votes for strawberries.
Nice.
From Jill and Julia.
Hi, Jill.
And 1 vote for apples from Maryland.
Ooh, apples, most pesticide. Oh, so she's saying Dirty Dozen. Okay. And strawberries.
John's in it, berries and potatoes.
Ooh, good ones. Okay, well, I'm going to let anyone else chime in if they want to. And so while I'm waiting, I just want to quickly take a step while we're waiting for anybody else to add and just talk also about mushrooms. And I see that. Go ahead, read the next one.
Lisa says Dirty Dozen, berries, lettuce, spinach, and potatoes.
Nice. These are excellent. Okay, so before I release the list, I just want to tell you that mushrooms, they're so controversial in a certain way. I wrote something down here, but now I don't know where it is. But mushrooms are basically, people clean them just by taking them underwater. And some people say that, no, you can't do that because it will absorb all the water. Other people take like a little bit of a clean towel, and they make it damp and they brush it off, wipe it off. And then some people use that brush that I was talking about, a veggie or potato, or even they have just a mushroom brush to clean them. So I did want to talk about that, and I'd love to also ask how you clean your mushrooms if you're a mushroom person. And while we're waiting for that, anybody else to add? Oh, tomatoes are on the list. Okay, so here we go. For this year, for 2024, because this is when we're going live here, the non-organic Dirty Dozen list are, let's see, I'm going to go backwards, or you want me to go back? So I'm going to go backwards. So when we get to number 1, then we'll know the worst one, right? So the very least, well, that's not the least, but the bottom one, green beans. I was so surprised. Then number 11, that's number 12. Number 11, blueberries. And no matter what, like, just being aware is great. Number 10, cherries. For real? I was surprised. And number 9 is a combo, bell peppers and hot peppers. Number 9, bell peppers and hot peppers. Number 8, apples. Apples are on the dirty dozen list. Number 7, nectarines. Number 6, pears. Nobody said pears, huh? Number 5, peaches. Number 4, grapes, which is good because we got ours cleaning right there. Number 3, kale, collards, and mustard greens. All of those are listed in number 3. Number 2, spinach. Spinach, and I've had some really dirty spinach before, but that doesn't mean, I don't know if that means anything. It just comes with a lot of dirt on it. And number 1, you want to do a drum roll? If you said strawberry, you're right. Strawberries are number 1 on the dirty dozen list for 2024. So what does this all mean? Well, if you want to buy organic and where you are, it's either not available or too expensive, depending on where you are, and you have to pick and choose. Some people would go, okay, I'm going to buy organic for things that are available, for things that are on the dirty dozen list. Now, John asked about the skin of bananas, which I happen to have some really, I'm not going to pick those up because they're going to fall apart. Bananas and avocados. Now, I have heard that, yes, if you're going to need to pick, that these are good options to pick non-organic because, like he said, the skin is thick and we don't eat the skin. But what I would say to you is, if you cut into it, if you cut into an avocado and you haven't even rinsed it, whatever is on the skin of the avocado, or even if you cut into anything that's thick-skinned that we're talking about, whatever's on your knife or whatever is on this outside can get inside and it can contaminate it inside. So be aware of that. I think it's still important to wash everything, however you decide to wash it. And if you're going to be buying it, yes, go ahead and do what works for you. And don't worry, sometimes we got to do the best we can. I try to buy as much organic as I can, and sometimes it's just not available. And so then, yes, something that with a real thin skin, like a berry, like the strawberry, a blueberry was on the list, then I am going to want to definitely consider my other options, because if it's not available, maybe I won't get it, or maybe I will get a different berry that is available. And because I know that probably the pesticides that are used probably will really get in there. And there are pesticides used on organic and non-organic. They're just different. And the ones that I personally am concerned about are the non-organic, because they've been known to cause cancer and other things. So good to go. Now, anybody say anything about the Clean 15? Any takers for the Clean 15? Okay, so the Clean 15. Should I do it backwards again?
Sure.
Okay. Number 15, avocado. Yay! Woo! So John G brought up avocado. Avocado is number 15 on the Clean 15 list for 2024. Go ahead and grab a non-organic avocado if you want and feel like you're okay. But again, I would still recommend that you clean the skin. Number 14, sweet corn. Now, I was surprised because corn, these are non-organic, but I guess that's another thing, right? GMOs and all of that. Okay, we'll just stick with what we're sticking with. So number 14, sweet corn, Clean 15 list. Yay! Number 13, pineapple. Again, with the really thick skin if it's a fresh pineapple. And I wouldn't recommend rubbing your bare hand and cleaning it with something like this, because it has little pokers on it. But maybe rinsing it or dipping it in one of these solutions, and then cutting it off, that would be good. Okay, so we have avocados, sweet corn, pineapple. Number 12, onions. I was surprised at onions. Number 11, papaya. Do we have anybody? Oh, Julie S says bananas. Marilyn says cantaloupe. Okay, so far that is not what we've read, but stay tuned. Let's see if you're right. So I said 11 was papaya, 10, it said sweet peas, and then it listed it as frozen sweet peas. So I've seen raw sweet peas, but that's what it says. Number 9 on the clean 15, asparagus. Asparagus. Number 8, honeydew melon. Number 8, honeydew melon. Now, honeydew melon, that's interesting. This, when somebody mentioned cantaloupe, Marilyn mentioned cantaloupe. I actually have a cantaloupe over there. The skin is so different than the honeydew melon. And so anyways, for whatever that's worth. Number 7 on the list, kiwi. Kiwi. Number 6, cabbage. Number 5, watermelon. Number 4, mushrooms. We have mushrooms, so that's good to know. Number 3 are mangoes. Mangoes are amazing. Number 2, sweet potatoes. And drum roll. Number 1 on the clean 15 this year for 2024 is carrots. Carrots. And I have carrots in the drawer, so I should have brought that out. So yeah, that's what I have to share about that. And let me see what else we have here. Let's see, are there any other questions? No questions. Okay. And oh, here it is. I was just going to say, so mushrooms, either gentle water rinse or wipe with damp towel or brush. So that is what I said. And I just wanted to make sure that I said it correctly. And so I would like to start to look at some of this stuff, rinse a little bit of it and look at it. And of course, once you have everything cleaned and you set it aside to dry, like I have this done ahead of time, this is arugula, then we can make something out of this, because after all, we just spent all this time cleaning the produce. So let me drain a couple of these things and pull together some ingredients to put something together for all of us. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, I would love to hear your thoughts on anything that we've been talking about. And so, yeah, so let me know how it goes. And I'm just going to stand right here for a second and just rinse a couple of these things. So I'm going to do the tomatoes, and I'm just going to rinse it. I wish there was a way to have it, so I could just pull the sink over here and move the sink when I want to, but I can't. So that's okay. There we go. So we have the tomatoes, and then I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. Do we remember what was in the tomatoes? I better make sure before we go any further. Do you remember what was in the tomatoes? Oh, okay. Well, I do know. I do know that the grapes were in the salt, and the water looks really dirty. So that's interesting. So let me rinse these, because I want us to taste this and see if it tastes like what we washed it with. Does anybody remember what I washed the tomatoes in? I know that this was the salt, and I am going to have us taste the salt to see if we got that clean. So here we go. Okay. So let's just take a second here and go ahead and join me for a grape if you would. I'm going to go ahead and taste this. Interesting. I don't taste salt, but taste that. What do you think? That was the one in the salt. I don't know. Does it taste different? No, it doesn't taste different. I didn't taste salt, but I also felt like it had like a drying feeling, but it could just be the grape. Okay. John Jew, let's see what he said. I guess good or bad, neutral. What about nuts? And their organicism. Yeah. I don't know. We didn't get any information on nuts, did we? It was just fruits and vegetables, but of course nuts come in something, right? So like a walnut has the walnut shell. They all have their shells, but interesting to talk about that. Okay, let's try the tomato. Let's try, I better rinse it again. Let's try the tomato. Go ahead and give people your feedback. They can't see you chomping on the grapes, so they must be fine.
I'm just eating my weight in grapes.
Okay, so let's try a tomato. Just see if there's any aftertaste of anything. Wow. I just think those taste actually cleaner and better than the grapes. Yeah, the grapes with the salt. I don't know if I'm a fan of that personally, but hey, whatever works for you. And then what did we have in this one? I don't even remember. I should have, let's see, the kale and the greens. I started to mix stuff up. Well, let's dump this out and see if it has an aftertaste. Oh my goodness. It's hard to keep track of all these wonderful things. And so this will be the last one we taste, and then we're going to go ahead and make something. All right, so here you go, honey. Let me just, you don't have to taste the lemon in its form or the apple. Oh, we could cut the apple, but let's definitely taste the blueberries. And what do you think? Any aftertaste? No.
I didn't get the taste, but I think that was in vinegar. Because when I picked it up, I could smell it.
Do you know what? I do have an aftertaste on this. It just took a minute. Wow. It is. So I would need to rinse these even more than just a quick rinse. Very good. I knew you'd be super helpful with that. Oh, the cherry tomatoes was the baking soda. Baking soda and water is what. No, that's not what we did. Oh, we tasted nothing. You know what? I'm confused. But whatever if you know what I'm talking about, we did not notice of anything on the tomatoes. I noticed, I think a little bit on the grapes, but he does not. And definitely on the blueberries. Weird. Okay, so let me move this aside. Before we make, we're going to make a salad, and we're going to make it out of Dr. Goldner's book. Before we do that, because I know we're running close on time, I did want to ask you a question. Here's the question. What about food that comes in a bag that says pre-washed? What do you think about that, you guys? So this one says thoroughly washed. Okay. This one says, and that was the power greens. This is the cauliflower, and it says washed, ready to enjoy. All right. And then the one that I did pour out of the bag behind me, and we did wash it and let it dry here, is the arugula, and it says washed and ready to eat. I have done a lot of eating it just out of here. It's convenient. But I got to tell you, not too long ago, I called the company Earthbound Farm, and I asked them, how do you wash it? Because at the time, their packaging said triple wash. And I asked them, and they were very proud to tell me that they triple wash it, and that there is, I don't remember the amount, but a very small amount of bleach. Chlorine. What I forget which, if they said chlorine or bleach or chlorinated bleach or chlorine. Does that sound better? Yeah. Okay. Scrap it. Chlorine. And I thought, ugh. But they said it's within the legal limits and it's safe according to whoever they said it was safe. I want to say the FDA, but this was a while ago. I actually tried to call them again to get a more accurate response, but they did not answer. You have to wait till they call you back, and that could take a week. So I was unable to do it, but that's what I remember. And I started washing it again, but then I got lazy. So I'm curious what you guys do and what you think. So let's hear it. What are they saying?
Mona and Julia would not wash it again. They're fine. It just says it's been pre-washed. Gina doesn't wash it if it's organic.
Interesting. Okay, so everybody has their thing. I have my.
Lauren would like to know if you got all of this from Costco.
I did not get all of this from Costco. I did get some of it from Costco and some of it from a store that we have out here called Natural Grocer. And that's another thing, appeal, you know, that's a coating, and that's like a whole nother topic. But I do also shop at Trader Joe's. I didn't today for this, and I do also shop at Sprouts. Those are stores local to us. But the Costco stuff was some of it, like these Power Greens, the bag of cauliflower, and the berries. All these berries came from Costco. So we got the blueberries and the raspberries. The rest of it I got at other stores. Okay, so what we're going to make is in her Goodbye Lupus, Hello Delicious book on page 37. And this is her salad with olive tapenade. And so basically, we're going to take some clean, right? We just spent all this time cleaning this, and for sake of time, I went ahead and did this and had it dry ahead of time. This is arugula, so you could use arugula in this or spinach or a combination. I'm using all, and I'm just going to dump it in here. And I'm going to move that aside. And so we've got all of this beautiful arugula. I'm going to see what else she says. Arugula, spinach, and radicchio mix. Now, I do have radicchio, but I didn't get a chance to mix it. But if you're not familiar with that, I will show you. It's kind of like a cabbage, and I think I'll end up maybe cutting it later because I didn't have time, but this is it. And so this is a beautiful type of green to add, even though it's not green. Okay, so then we're going to add some mushrooms. Let me just make sure that I'm doing this correctly, right? Yes, so we're going to add some mushrooms, and she says in this recipe that she steams them. In another recipe, she uses it raw. And I heard recently that she is okay with eating mushrooms raw. I know some people, some doctors, they say you shouldn't, and I stopped eating them raw until just the last couple of weeks on her protocol, but I've hardly eaten any mushrooms. So whatever you feel comfortable with, I'm going to go ahead for our sake and just dump it in raw. And then the next thing are some of those beautiful tomatoes. So we're going to put in, these are cherry tomatoes. And oh, you know what I was going to do? Well, I was originally going to use this chopper and chop up, which I can still, chop up some of the greens first before I added the mushroom, but I'll just kind of push it to the side. And the reason why is because it's nice to break it down. And then you don't get gigantic bites. You get kind of smaller bites. And so that's really nice. So you can take your time and do that, and then add the mushrooms and the tomatoes. And then she just has avocado. So for the tapenade part, it's basically a few ingredients that we're going to put together in a bowl, which I'm going to grab because I didn't get one. Okay. So for now, I still have to add the avocado, but you see how that's looking. On this one is some green olives. These olives were stuffed with garlic. They're chopped up. She is using olives. If you don't use olives, you can leave it out, but it is an olive tapenade. And then here's some red bell pepper. And so we're going to go ahead and put all of that right in here. And any juice or liquid that came out. And then we have fresh basil. And that's another thing. With fresh basil, would you wash it? What would you do with it if it comes in these little packages? So we have fresh basil, and I did rinse it in water. I did not soak it. And then I also have some dried oregano and fresh garlic. And so all of that's going to go in here to make the tapenade. And then we're going to mix. And usually you know, you might have a little bit of juice. Some people would wash the salt off of the olives. Then again, you know, like I said, Jan, her protocol, she wants you to have a little bit of olives. I mean, not a little bit of olives, a little bit of salt because of the water that we talked about earlier. Wow, that smells so good. And then basically, we're just going to toss that. Let me get some tossers. And then top with the tapenade. And that's your beautiful salad. Simple. Her meals, her menus, they're super simple and they're really delicious and filling. And then you can just pour this whole beautiful thing out. And then the only other thing that we have to add here is the avocado, which I'm going to do with you right now. You can just toss and mix this up right there. And where is the avocado that we washed? Oh, right here? Where?
Oh, you may have moved it since you walked.
Oh, I did. he's pointing down. It's right there, but no, it wasn't. It was behind me. Okay, and let me grab a knife, and we are ready to go. With the last thing. So I'm just going to cut into this avocado. This is a very ripe avocado. I would prefer you to use a cutting board. And I didn't cut it all the way. There we go. And we're just going to, I think I'm going to use the cutting board and I'm going to score it and then scoop it. And that'll be it. And we will taste it. Any questions? Any comments? Let's see. Then you can see what I'm doing. Any questions, honey? Any comments?
No. Gina is concerned about appeal, but like you said, we're at the story for a different day.
Yeah, it's true.
Mona would like you to know she eats certain mushrooms raw, particularly button mushrooms.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I heard her say, Dr. Brooke Goldner say that certain mushrooms were okay. Button, cremini, portobello, and that there were some that maybe she wouldn't do. So good point. Thank you for bringing that up. And then here we go. I'm just going to go ahead. Now, I personally might add some lemon to this just because I'm that kind of person. I might also add some black pepper and some turmeric. And so we just mix this up. And here you go. I mean, and this is salad for one. So there you go, everyone. I really thank you. Marilyn said, looks delicious. There you go. Now you can really see it. I hope that this was helpful, no matter which way you decide to make, you know, wash or clean or eat your vegetables and your fruit. Hopefully this will give you some other ideas that maybe you haven't heard of or maybe you haven't tried. And the whole idea behind everything is just to be more aware and to do what works best for you. I think that being aware is really the key to you know, understanding what you're buying. And I believe that we vote with our dollar when we purchase. So thank you again, everyone. Don't forget, I'm going to eat my greens. Don't forget to eat yours and give plants a chance. As always, I really appreciate everyone being here. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.